good Thursday evening, everyone. Todd Warren here on Facebook Live tonight, as well as streaming on the KTAL Now app. Welcome to Weather Worries for those watching on the app. Today we did see lots of sunshine across the Arklatex with temperatures that climbed, as you'll see here in a second, into the upper 70s to low 80s. It looks like we'll see this pleasant weather pattern continue. Coming up tonight, I'm going to be looking at basically what is on the way in terms of the nice weather, as it will last through the weekend. We'll see those temperatures this weekend in the 80s. The warm temperatures stick around all next week. But as that happens, we'll gradually see more moisture. The weather pattern will shift. And it looks like we could be in for a long-term shift towards more soggy, which begins late next week. And the model projections on rainfall totals here for the next 10 and 14 days have gone up some. I'll show you the latest numbers. You might remember they were still somewhat high yesterday when I showed you those. And of course, we'll take you out, this being Thursday night. It's grain of salt night. And I'll take you out to give you a look at the EPS seasonal ensembles, which take us into the middle part of April, show you where we could stand in terms of total rainfall during the next 6 weeks, as well as average temperatures, at least in Shreveport. So that's what's coming up tonight. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to ask away. Of course, we like to begin things here by saying our hellos for everyone who is watching on my Facebook page, or I should say Todd Warren Weather. And it looks like a pretty good list tonight. Brian, as usual, first on board tonight. Hello there, Brian. Gary, hello. Rusty, good evening to you. Lewis, good evening. Dylan, hello. Hopefully you're doing well tonight. Christian, quick question. Christian says he's noticed I've been using the touchscreen wall lately. There's a long explanation to that answer. It's just so, main thing is basically where the green wall was. It's much quieter here in the studio, and Josh and I will be together during severe weather events. So that is also a major advantage to that. So that's one reason for that. Betty, hello, up there in Union County. And thanks everyone for watching tonight. So let's get into it. And first of all, I'll show you my level of worry here for the next, hence weather worries. My level of worry as of right now is at 3. If it's all totally calm, nothing's happening, 75 every day and sunny, it would be 1. But we do have the chance for some thunderstorms late next week, into next weekend, into the beginning of the following week. Issues will be the potential for some rather impressive rainfall numbers that you'll see here in a second. And it does look like instability will be in place, so thunderstorms will also be a possibility. Now, we're talking about something that's a week away. At this point, just looking at some of the forecast soundings, severe weather will be on the table. And especially as we move late next weekend into the beginning of the following week, everything as far as severe weather impacts will be on the table as well. Can't tell you the level of impacts we'll see yet. Obviously, we wait until we get a day or two away, but just be aware that that's going to be a possibility. As we get closer, that 3 probably is going to go up some, so get ready for that. Already seeing next week clickbait models. It's a bit early. It's a bit early, Betty. Like I mentioned, I looked at the forecast soundings. I didn't do it that far north. I just basically clicked on Shreveport. It does show, my favorite model shows the atmosphere would support the possibility of tornadoes early the following week after next weekend. So we'll see. Eric says it's now 64 degrees in Colbert, Oklahoma, west of the Arklatex. Donnell? You're quite welcome, Donnell, and you ain't seen nothing yet, as they often say. We're looking at some nice weather here for tomorrow and the weekend. And actually, Monday, Tuesday look pretty nice as well. Here's how nice it was today. We made it to 81 degrees this afternoon in Shreveport, 83 the high temperature in Texarkana, 82 degrees in Marshall. Elsewhere, temperatures mainly in the upper 70s. You can see 80 degrees also for the high temperature in Mount Pleasant. Burn bans, we did add Bienville Parish to the mix today as far as the only location that was added to the list. So we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 counties and parishes that are not under burn ban. So if your county or parish is red, outdoor burning is prohibited. Let's see. Aaron, hello there in Wright City. Jeff, Me too. I love it too. I can't wait for the weekend, to be honest with you. And Steven says severe weather season is upon us. Yes, it is, Stephen. It looks like it's going to get off to an active start next weekend, possibly. Carol, hello. I'm glad you're liking it. Mary, you're quite welcome, and thank you for watching. And Rusty says, won't be. I just got done showing the snow, and Rusty wants me to haul out the heat index. But you're right, Rusty. It's not going to be very long. A couple months before we start talking about that. All right, let's take a look at the current weather pattern. Again, as I've been mentioning here for it seems like the last 3 weeks, we've had this persistent northwesterly flow, which keeps us dry. Notice all the thunderstorms out here to the east of us. So this little ripple right here has just been enough to basically give some upper level support to that boundary, which is trying to move through our area. We got missed by that as just a few showers earlier late this afternoon in Claiborne Parish. But other than that, most of the Arklatex has been dry today. You can see, look at the surface. You can see that frontal system, which is basically moving towards the south and east. And you can see that it will continue to move away. Another boundary off to the north of us, as minus Florida, most of the country looking relatively quiet. You can see a little bit of snow across the northern Rockies. There is that low is going to try to trigger some rain to our north this weekend, but that boundary probably not going to make it here, to be honest with you, in terms of cooling us off that much. Even though this analysis does show a little bit of a wind shift, maybe shifting southward into the Arklatex, but all the precipitation likely will stay to our north. And you can see heading into Monday, as that wind shifts around to the south and east, we are going to be looking at, again, the moisture increasing, and we'll start to see more clouds in the mix Tuesday, Wednesday of next week after a mix of sunshine and clouds this weekend and Monday as well as tomorrow. But for the most part, all is going to be quiet here at home. Let's see. Steven says Titus County was added to the burn ban. I just checked the Texas Forestry Service map, Stephen. That's what I use. It's on the burn ban page of our website, and it has not been updated. Of course, they haven't updated Harrison County yet. I think Carol mentioned that earlier that Harrison County was added a few days ago, and sure enough, it was. So I added that to the list. I'll look and see if I can find some, not that I don't believe you, Stephen, but we obviously have to confirm from official sources, so to speak. But I'll look for that. But I wouldn't, it's so dry, I wouldn't want to burn anything outside anyway, even though the wind has died down. Brad, hello there in WCOK. I did get your picture, Brad. I see you finally figured out the green add button, as I often say. And maybe I'll use that tomorrow. We'll see. Aaron, you're going to get some rain. Yes, it's coming. You look at the number for DeQueen in the 14-day, and you'll see something similar, I think, as a possibility anyway. Take a look at Futurecast here, and you can see tonight looking clear to partly cloudy across the area. Tomorrow, we are going to be looking at basically a mostly sunny sky as temperatures will return to the upper 70s to low 80s. Going through tomorrow night, we're looking good with a mostly clear sky. A few more clouds will mix in with the sunshine on Saturday. And then going through Saturday night, looking partly to mostly cloudy, a little bit of an increase in the clouds. Futurecast shows that little wind shift that it was as pushing through the area, maybe squeezing out a little bit of rain Saturday night up towards Brad and Aaron's way. But we'll see. I'm not buying that quite just yet. And you can see that Sunday looking partly to mostly cloudy. Might see a few more clouds on Sunday and kind of a mixture of sunshine and clouds on Monday. So the point is, rain is unlikely here through at least Monday, probably through Wednesday, to be honest with you. And then next Thursday, we'll start to see things pick up somewhat. All right, so we've covered the next 4 days. So let's move to grain of salt time as we take you out a couple weeks here. And eventually, in big time grain of salt time, we'll take you out 6 weeks. So this is the weather pattern for the next 2 weeks. And I pointed out this northwesterly flow at the beginning. And this is going to run continuously here. And you'll see how the pattern shifts. Instead of the ridge in the west and the trough in the east, we're going to be looking at the trough in the west and the ridge over the east, which means it's going to be warm warmer anyway, for the eastern half of the country and a little bit cooler than it's been over the western sections of the U.S. And you can see by Friday, we will see this southwesterly flow lead to the shot for some showers and thunderstorms that will begin Thursday, increase a little bit Friday, and then increase even more as we go through the weekend. You can see the waves of those showers and thunderstorms that will be moving through. And again, this is the GFS. It's keeping the troughiness in here through Thursday of next week. Other models bring the final impulse through a bit and don't leave the trough behind. If this were to happen this way, look what's out. So we have this disturbance here, right? And you can see the thunderstorms associated with it, but also notice what's lurking back here. If this were to move this way, we would see even more as we go deeper into the middle of March. So it looks like the first half of March, or at least once we get into the second week, let's just say the middle of March, is looking a bit stormy and very soggy as we see this shift in the weather pattern. One thing we have to keep an eye on with this, I mentioned this last night, if we ever see one of these things dig all the way down here into Mexico, then it's going to be very wet. Every time that's happened, we've seen some pretty good dumping of rain on our area. So that's something that we will be watching for. Of course, grain of salt night is also drought monitor night, as the drought monitor is released every Thursday. This is a look at last week's drought monitor. We didn't see a whole lot of change, not as much as I was kind of anticipating, given how warm and how dry it's been here recently. But you'll see just some very, very subtle changes in the middle here, and that's about it. As we continue to see mainly severe drought, the level 3. You can see the reds here. That's extreme drought up in Howard County, up in parts of McCurtain and northeast Texas. So the northwest edge of the area is the driest part of the Arklatex as of right now. And back in 2011, I think I showed this Monday night, we did see more reds further east. So we're not as dry as we were back then, but still, it's something to keep an eye on. And the forecast is actually looking very promising here. As what's happened in the last couple of months, we would get something come through, we get 2 or 3 inches, and then the rain shuts off for 2 or 3 weeks. And then we get another one of those, 1 to 2 inches. It shuts off for a week, 10 days. So we haven't been getting the rain here during this developing drought as frequently as we typically do. So as a result, we're not getting as much. So speaking of that, now just saw the drought monitor, and this is the outlook for the next 7 days. This will take us through next Thursday from WPC. Notice they are showing the beginnings of the pattern change impacts as far as rain over the northern sections of the Arklatex. They're a quarter to a good inch, inch and a half possible as you work your way up towards the Queen, up there towards WCOK as well, maybe a good inch, inch and a quarter. And notice nothing further to the south, but that's going to change. Let's take you out 10 days. This will take us through next weekend, next Sunday. This is from the Blenda models, and you can see it is showing basically near and north of Interstate 30, 3 to over 5 inches. Anything red here is 5 inches. The darker reds are 6. So we're going to be looking at some heavy rain here and we're not done yet. Again, this only goes through Sunday, and you can see the amounts further to the southeast and East Texas and northwest Louisiana, basically 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches is what we're pretty much looking at. But we're not done yet. Let's take you out a couple weeks here. And I did have to adjust one of the graphs on here because the number was so big, but I wanted to show the number because I used it on the air. But look at the numbers here in DeQueen. Now, if we just had this 10.3 and everything else was down here at 2 and 3 inches, then you could throw that out. But you can see the majority of the models here for DeQueen showing at least or right around 6 inches, and obviously more. At one point, there was one model that had the 10 inches on Texarkana. So that's going to be within the realm of possibility. Again, this goes out through next Thursday. So the heaviest rain, the farther north you live. As you work your way south, notice around Texarkana, 3.5, maybe 4.5 inches, what the consensus is. Shreveport, kind of in the middle here, maybe 2.5 to 3.5 inches. and Natchitoches probably right around a couple inches is what we might expect. So the heaviest rain north, and those rainfall potential numbers do drop. If this were to happen, this would put a big dent in the drought conditions, right? It would help dramatically. And I have even better news when we get to big time grain of salt time. As I think these numbers will be reflected in the numbers you see for the next 60 days. Brad says dry in McCurtain County. It is dry, hence you're in the severe or the extreme drought level 4. But you're going to in line to get more of the rain. Now, with all that rain, of course, we're in March, and this is the time of year where we start getting concerned more about severe weather. We're seeing 70s more often, 80s more often. It's more moisture in the air. That's fuel for thunderstorms. And it looks like we'll have enough instability, especially starting next Friday, that would be enough to at least be available for thunderstorms to become severe. Obviously, this far out, SPC doesn't classify anything past 7 days from today. So, and there's nothing for Thursday for the most part. So I think we will see some level of severe weather threat starting next weekend, maybe even Friday. And it does appear as if the risk will be going up late next weekend into the first half of the following week. Even though we will have these thunderstorms, we're still going to have, especially as that one negatively tilted disturbance that would move through next Thursday comes in. If it comes in that way, then that could be a very busy day. So just be aware of that possibility. Obviously, this far out, no need to get too concerned. Just be aware to keep an eye on it. All right, so let's move on here. It's getting a little bit late to take you out 6 weeks here. The latest from the EPS 45-day outlook. And again, they provide numbers which add up all the rain for the next 45 days. And look at the numbers for DeQueen and Idabel. 10.2 and 10.1. Normal for Shreveport is a little under 7 inches. So obviously that is several inches above normal. That is good news. All of the Arklatex is in line to get a little bit above normal rainfall, especially at the beginning of March. Now, we'll see how these numbers turn out here in the coming weeks. We don't want to get 8, 9, 10 inches of rain in the next 2 weeks and then nothing after that for a month. That would not be good. We would lose it very quickly. But this is good news. We have not seen numbers since I started showing this graph. These are the highest numbers that I've shown so far. So there are signs is that we very well could start to see more rain, at least as far as amounts. Can't say as often or more often yet, but still, this is good news. So that's what it looks like as far as the rain long term. Let's get into the temperatures, and we'll show you the first couple of weeks here. This is from the European ensemble, since I have 2 different sets of ensembles. Notice the highs here, upper 70s, low 80s for more than the next week. Lows will eventually warm up into the low 60s. We'll ease off a bit towards the middle of March here. This ends March 12th. So we will begin to cool off a little bit as that final impulse finally moves through 2 weeks from today. GFS ensembles, they are equal to that. For some reason, that little cool snap early next week still showing up there, but most models show mid to upper 70s for Monday. And you can see the 80s that last through next weekend, and then the 60s. And then also the GFS ensembles have that slight cool off towards the end of the 2-week period. So warm is the theme here. Again, the blue line is the normal low. So our lows will be closer to the normal high than the normal low. And the highs will be 65 is now normal. I think middle of this is 67. So yeah, it's going to be a good 10 to 15 degrees above normal here for the next couple of weeks. And that is included in this first bar. All right, so we'll take you out further. This is the next 6 weeks. So this is week 2, ending March 8th, and this is the average low temperatures. And the length of the bar, this is normal, okay? I wanted to do this because normal is constantly changing. So 53 is normal as far as the low, right, on April 12th. But notice that the length of the bar is right at normal. So that the bigger the bar, the more above normal that temperature is. So we're going to be well above normal here for better part of the next 3 weeks. And then we start to get back closer to normal. Now, the point I made last week, these ensembles, when they go way out, they tend to run back to normal anyway. I think for the last 4 times I've shown this graph, the last week has been right at normal. So they tend to run. So that tells me that the extent to which the middle 3 bars here are above normal, maybe underdone, to be frank. So that's what it looks like as far as normal lows. Notice, are we done with freezing? I think the first time that question was posed to me, I think we hit freezing the other night in Shreveport, but I do think we're pretty much done, given what you're seeing here. So as far as high temperatures, notice the average high temperature that the week from starting this Sunday through the next Sunday will be 82. And you can see that the average highs do fall some, but notice since the average high or the average high for the 7 days do fall, but the average high for that particular day is going up. So we're going to stay in the mid to upper 70s on average for highs through the rest of March into April. By April 12th, 77 will be the normal high. And right now it's 12 degrees below that. It'll do some good, Dylan, if we get that much. Now, keep in mind that we got 2 to 3 inches of liquid equivalent with the winter storm, and it didn't really put a dent in things. So if you got 6, 7, 8, 9 inches, yes, that definitely would help much more. Good evening, Nita. That's right, Brad, and it's going to be important that we get this rain because I showed the graph earlier this week of the monthly rain each month in 2011, and it was half of our normal. Typically, we get 4 to 5 inches of rain in the spring each month. So in this month, we're getting about a third. We're going to end up in Shreveport about a third of our normal rainfall for February, which is, as Brad said, not good. All right, so that's what it looks like as far as temperatures. It's getting late, so I got to keep going here. And you can see the forecast for tonight, partly cloudy. It will be a bit cooler. Temperatures 40s, low 50s, including 50 tonight in Texarkana. Further to the south, looking at lows in the mid-50s, 55 in Shreveport, 54 degrees in Marshall. Tomorrow looks to be a nice day, rather warm. How about 78 for the high tomorrow in Texarkana? 77 in Idabel, 78 degrees in Magnolia. A little bit warmer further to the south, as you might imagine. Looking at probably 79, 80 in Shreveport, 80 in Marshall, 79 degrees in Natchitoches. Not too bad on the wind, northeast, right around 10 miles per hour. And here's my 10-day forecast that shows the low 80s through the weekend, a little bit of a subtle cool down Monday, back to the low 80s towards the end of next week. And you can see the rainfall chances starting to increase Thursday, and they will continue to increase heading into next weekend. Slightly cooler temperatures by the end of the weekend. So that will do it for me tonight, folks. But before I go, of course, I got to leave you with my attempt at a little bit of humor. And this is a long one, so this is one that I have to read. So a husband and wife were in the courtroom, and the wife had did something wrong. So the judge says, "What did you steal, and why did you steal it?" And the wife says, "A can of peaches because I was hungry." The judge says, "How many peaches were in the can?" The wife says, "6, Your Honor." The judge says, "Then I'll give you 6 days in jail." Well, the husband chimes in, "May I speak, Your Honor? I'm her husband, and she also ate a can of peas." And that will officially do it for me tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in tonight at 9 on Fox or at 10 on NBC6. And it doesn't look like the stream worked on the app there again, so I am recording this, so you can watch it on the big TV on the KTAL Now app. It's in the weather section. I will be here tomorrow night. Traditionally, I'll be back Monday with another live update with the very latest on the rains that are on the way for next week. So have a great Friday and a great weekend. Good night.